Hello, welcome to my channel. I'm Emily, and in today's video, we're gonna go through my week of weightlifting training. This week was a really good training week. I hit more than one PR, so I thought I'd grab my coffee, sit down together, and we can go through some of my highlights from the week. I was introduced to the snatch and clean and jerk about 8 years ago through a CrossFit class, and ever since then, I dabbled in weightlifting in some way, mostly through CrossFit classes. But for the last 2-ish years now, I've been dedicated specifically to weightlifting training. I train 3 to 4 times a week, have done a couple competitions, and I plan to compete more in the future. So for this week, we're going to start off with Monday. My highlight for my Monday session was the power clean plus split jerk. For this, we were working up to basically my 1 rep max. It was going a little bit higher than the prescribed percentages. But I think the one thing for me with the power clean is I feel like I'm capable of more, but I kind of give up on the power clean when I feel like it's getting heavy, or if it's a weight that I haven't attempted before. I feel like mentally I don't try to stop in a power, and I just kind of go down into like a full clean. Last week I hit 66 for power clean plus jerk, which was a PR for my power clean. I went up and attempted 68. As soon as I touched the bar and was aware that it was 68, I haven't done this before, it's like my brain didn't think to try to even power it. So going into this week's session, I wanted to hopefully get more than 66, which I hit last week. But really my focus was on, as soon as my feet hit like stop, stand up, because I get the bar so high, even when I fail the power, when I go into a full clean, it's just I don't stand it up. So here I did 65, which felt really good, but what I didn't video was right before this, I just had failed 65 and doing the exact same thing that we just talked about. I just went into a full clean. So going into the second rep at 65, I was really focused on, I can power this. The bar is high enough. I can catch this in a power. So just don't go into a full squat. And so that was really good power. We're not going to talk about the jerks here. I have a lot of elbow bobbles. My lockout is not strong. But after 65, I decided to go up to 67, which would be 1 kilo more than what I got last week. So we went up to 67, and we're going to pause the video and take a look. This is for sure power, okay? It's borderline. It's kind of on the cusp, but that's definitely above 90. And also this jerk isn't the strongest lockout. But I was really happy with 67. I just kept it there. I didn't have any more attempts. I just left it at 67 and called it a day. On to my Wednesday session. I think this was my favorite session of the week. We started with a snatch complex, so just a snatch pull plus snatch. So we were working up to like 5x1 at pretty heavy percentages. Last week we did slightly different complex. It was like a snatch deadlift plus snatch, and I hit 56, but for a really sketchy like duck walk saves. So my goal for this week's session, my A goal was to hit 56, but a cleaner rep. But I find snatches for me, it really depends on the day. So I wasn't as focused on getting like as heavy as possible. Going into this session, I was more focused on not jumping forward. So like finishing my pull, because last week with that duck walk save, my left foot like really jumped forward. So I was trying to focus more on like the technique and seeing if it went well, then we would go up in weight. Today was just good vibes. We start here at 51 kilos, which is pretty close to my max. So my max snatch ever, I just hit the week before, 56. For that, my PR is 55. I hit 51 here. My feet do jump forward a little bit, but I think otherwise it felt really good. My turnover was good. My lockout was super strong. Sometimes I also have a little bit of wobbly lockout in my snatches, but today they were feeling super solid. So I decided to go up to 54 for my next set. I actually really like this complex. I think doing the snatch pull first right before a snatch sets you up well for the snatch, because that's the exact same pull you're doing, and all my pulls felt good, like they were getting super high. So basically just do the same thing but drop onto the bar. That 54 felt even better to me than my previous rep at 51. So I was feeling really good. And technically that was supposed to be the end of my working sets, but I was feeling so good. You want to take advantage of that. And so I asked the coach, I'm like, can I please do a bonus? He's like, of course. So I'm just sometimes scared to ask if I could do a bonus set, because what if they say no? Because if they ask like, oh, what percentage is this? It's basically like my 99%, you know? I think on the days you're feeling good, especially days like this where we are supposed to be lifting heavy and I'm getting up there to basically my 100%, but it's feeling really good, really solid, like they're quality reps. I think it is good to take advantage of those days, because there are going to be some days where we're supposed to max out and you just feel like trash. Last week I hit 56 for kind of a sketchy rep. This week I decided to go up to 57. Sometimes I find if I try to hit a weight that, like last week, the 56 felt unstable, that sometimes that kind of gets my head. But 57 being the first time I'm trying it from the floor snatch can sometimes be easier mentally for me, because possibly if I put 56 on the bar again and think, oh, last week I duck walked it, will I do it again this week? You know, sometimes that can play into like the mental game of lifting. So all that to say, we went up to 57. Hit the 57. I had to stabilize a little bit in the bottom, but felt really strong. My lockout was solid. So as soon as I hit it, like I knew I got it. So obviously I was really happy with that. That's a PR from the ground, and I guess a complex PR as well. I ended it there. I didn't take another bonus set. I want to end on a good note. I PR'd. I was really happy. So that snatching session, I had no misses and just all around really, really great lifting. So I'm happy I went for the 57 because I'm feeling good. And who knows how snatches are going to go for the next session. So that was definitely my top highlight from the session. The second highlight from the session was the push press. So after this, we went into working up to a 1 rep max push press. Working up through my warm-up weights, we hit 62 kilos for 1 rep. And I'm not sure, that might be 1 rep PR, but I haven't really done just a 1 RM in a while. So went up to 64 for my second attempt. Hit 64, but something I've done also last week is once it's overhead, it's like I forget to keep bracing, because you can see I stumble backwards after I hit it. It's like I start to lose my balance, and I think it's because I was excited that I got it up and just stopped bracing. So after the 64, I decided to go up to 66. For my setup, I always like twist my legs in like this, and so this really threw me off. Just gotta watch and listen. Okay.
Focus, come on.
My legs like smacked together. I just made that clapping sound. Yeah, it really pulled me up for a second. But anyways, I got locked back in. Okay, yeah. Couldn't get it. I think I went a little bit forward and just couldn't get my head through. We still had down sets to go, and I was running late already. So yeah, I did not try that again. I'm fine with that. We called it 64. It's my 1 rep max for push press, and that is that for Wednesday session. Okay, so moving on to Friday. I'm drinking this way slower than I ever would. It's already kind of cold. Honestly, I kind of forgot about it. My highlight for Friday session was the clean and jerk complex. It's just 2 cleans plus a jerk. I've been building up over the last few weeks, and I had a goal in mind of the weight I wanted to hit, just depending on how I feel. So I went into it just with a couple of key cues. I'm pretty confident with the cleans. I don't really think about anything for the clean portion, but something I need to work on is my jerk. My main focus, I guess I had two big focuses for the jerk, is one, keeping even pressure in my feet. If you look closely, in the jerk in particular, I put the weight into my heels and lift my toes a bit right before the jerk. So what that does, my weight is like in my heel as I'm going for the drive. My toe goes down and it's pushing me forward. So a lot of my jerks, I am going forward a lot. And I think that's leading to also a wobbly lockout. So my main focus is trying to keep even pressure in my feet and then an aggressive dip and drive. Today we were doing 3 reps of the complex of 2 cleans plus jerk. The first here, I have 65 on the barbell. This is still kind of one of my warm-up weights. I tend to, after my first clean, really bounce out and let the barbell kind of fly off my shoulders. It makes me feel really powerful. So I feel like, I have so much power in my legs that the barbell can just fly. So if I'm able to, I like doing that on my first clean. It makes me feel really strong. So after the 65, went up to 69. So this was the first of my working set of 3. So at 69, the cleans again feel really strong. Didn't feel like those were really a struggle at all. And as you can see in my setup for the jerk, when I kind of first stand up the clean, I'm still kind of bobbling my feet around, finding the position. Then I'm intentionally thinking, okay, keep them grounded. Stop shifting the weight so much. And now when I dip and drive, think just vertical and super aggressive on that drive. I don't know if I'm being super aggressive on the drive, to be honest. Watching these back, I think it doesn't look like I'm being super powerful. And I also still am getting that wobbly elbow. You can see it's still a little bit of a press out. It's not super solid. It could be because of not having enough of an aggressive drive. It could also be, I'm thinking, is just not actively pushing up into the barbell in the overhead position, because I don't really ever think about that. So that could be another factor. But other than that, little elbow bobble, again, felt really solid. For my second set, we went up to 73. My clean, I really dive bombed and I lost my brace, but I was able to stand it up, and I was confident, going into the second clean that I could do better. I knew I just lost the brace, and when that happens, I'm typically able to save it, so it didn't really throw me off going into the next clean. And the jerk here at 73, I think, is my best jerk through all of my lifts. What I really noticed about this jerk was it felt like I actually got a wider stance. Like I didn't short step my jerk with my front leg. I don't know if that's because I got a more kind of aggressive drive that gave me more time to actually get my foot forward and not short step the jerk, but I could really feel the difference in this jerk. This gave me a lot of confidence to go into my next lift at 75. Typically I do more like 3-4 kilo jumps, so going to 75 is only a 2 kilo jump, but I feel like 75 is that number that I have cleaned it a couple times. Also at a competition, I cleaned it in the warm-up area and got absolutely completely buried in it. And in that same comp, I hit 75 clean on the platform, but I missed a jerk. I kind of wanted that redemption, and I felt like if I went up to 76 or 77 and I failed to lift, that I would have been thinking, should have just tried at 75 first. The first clean at 75 felt and looks so easy. Standing that up, I was like, oh, I got this. That second clean, I can't see. I am blinded by my hair. This jerk, you can see I sort of collapsed in my back and the bar slid a little bit down my shoulders and it pushed me forward. I was able to still stand the jerk, but again, my lockout is definitely wobbly, but I'll take it. And it's 2 cleans plus a jerk, so I'm really happy with that. I know that's not the clean that is my limiter, and I also feel like I have the strength for jerking that weight, and now I'm confident that I can do even more, especially seeing that first clean. It looks like basically all of my warm-up weights. And even better, looks better than my 73 clean. That session was super positive. I have a lot of confidence coming out of that session. I think 80 kilos is there. That's kind of the number that I've been thinking about. I haven't touched it. I haven't tried cleaning it, but I'm really ready to hit more than 75. Overall this week, we hit a PR on my power clean. On Wednesday, we hit a PR snatch and a PR push press. And on Friday, we hit a PR for clean plus jerk. And yes, I know it's a little bit repressive, but we still count it as a training PR. Those are the highlights of my week. There were other lifts I did throughout the week in the sessions that didn't go as planned. But I think the reason why I was able to still push through after having not so great lifts during those sessions is you kind of just have to forget about it. Just because I had bad snatch balances doesn't mean my clean and jerks are going to be horrible too. Sometimes it's easy to get in the mindset of once you start failing, then you get frustrated and unmotivated and feel like, okay, what's the point of this session? Like, I'm not feeling good. It's not going to go well. But you kind of have to like step back from that. Not every session is going to be great. Not every lift is going to be great, especially in a session where you have like 2 or 3 lifts. Just because one isn't going well doesn't mean the whole session now has to go to shit. That's how I try to approach it. If it's going bad, really just try to move on. And just because this was a great week, there's also going to be weeks where nothing goes to plan. And so I had a few PRs here and overall felt like pretty good. But I know that, next week it could be a whole different story. So I just try to approach every week, every training session, kind of with an open mind that, let's see what can happen. Hopefully we have more good weeks than bad weeks and more weeks like this where things go to plan. But of course, that's not always going to happen. Okay, so that's the end of my weightlifting training sessions this week. Thanks for joining in on this coffee chat and weightlifting analysis. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more videos like this, please subscribe and I'll see you in the next one. See you then.